it keeps going in the way rivers do not, announcing their persistence, not asking permission from the land, just moving, patient, devoted, certain of their direction. Even when the path bends, there are thoughts that pass through a day like weather, temporary and loud. And then there are thoughts that settle into the bones, that become part of posture and breath. You are the second kind. You are not a distraction from the world. You are the way the world feels more inhabitable. Even in moments when nothing is said, when hours slip by without message or sound, there is a quiet awareness, like knowing a window is open somewhere, letting in air that keeps the room from closing in. I carry that awareness with me through the ordinary, through tasks that ask for focus, but not feeling, through conversations that skim the surface of things while something deeper remains untouched. And in the middle of all that, there is you, not interrupting, not insisting, just existing in a way that adds depth to everything else. I imagine you moving through your day with the same quiet grace, even if you don't call it that, even if you think you're just surviving the hours. I imagine your hands busy with life, your mind juggling responsibilities, your heart still making room for gentleness. That is what I send kisses to, not a fantasy, not an ideal, but the real breathing you who shows up anyway. Each kiss carries a message without words. I see the effort. I see the care you give even when you're tired. I see the way you keep going. They land softly, not to distract you from your strength, but to honor it. And the hugs, they return again, as steady as a refrain, because one embrace is never enough for a soul that carries so much quietly. They arrive when your shoulders tense, when your jaw tightens without you noticing, when you take a breath that stops halfway because the day is asking for too much at once. They remind your body that it is allowed to soften, that it is allowed to be human without apology. There is a tenderness in being. The first thought of the day that feels almost holy, not because it places you above all else, but because it places you at the beginning, where intention is still pure, where hope hasn't yet been negotiated with reality. To be thought of then is to be trusted with beginnings, and I trust you with mine when morning opens its eyes, before the sun remembers how to rise, before the birds rehearse their first brave notes, before the world puts on its weight. There is a quiet moment where everything is still learning how to exist again. That is where you are, not loud, not demanding, not rushing in with answers or noise, but present, like warmth finding skin before thought catches up, like the memory of light before light itself. I wake with your name resting gently between my heartbeat and my breath, not spoken, not announced, just there, as natural as the way lungs know to fill, as inevitable as gravity remembering its job. You arrive without footsteps, without effort, as if you were never absent at all, as if sleep was only a thin curtain and you were standing patiently behind it, waiting for my eyes to open. And when they do, the world feels less sharp. The edges soften, the air learns kindness, time loosens its grip just enough to let me feel instead of hurry. I think of you the way the sea thinks of the moon, not because it must, but because it has always been shaped that way, pulled, guided, answered by something that does not shout. Its power only proves it through devotion. I imagine sending you kisses the way dawn sends light slowly, at first testing the horizon, then with growing confidence, layer upon layer of warmth until everything touched begins to glow. Each kiss is unhurried. Each one knows where it belongs. They land on you like promises that don't need to be spoken, allowed to be believed. And the hugs, they are not the kind that rush in and rush out, not the polite ones the world practices, but the kind that listen, the kind that say, I am here. You do not have to be strong for this moment. You do not have to explain yourself. You can rest inside this. I send those hugs into your day so they reach you when you least expect them, in the pause before a thought, in the exhale after effort, in the brief silence where you wonder if anyone notices how much you carry. They wrap around you not to hold you still, but to remind you that you are held. There is something sacred about choosing someone in the quiet, not in the performance of daylight, not when the world is watching, but in the private seconds where honesty has no audience. That is where this lives, in the space between waking and becoming, between who we were yesterday and who today is asking us to be. I think of you then not as an escape, but as an anchor made of gentleness, a reminder that tenderness is not weakness, that affection can be a form of strength, that care is not something to ration,